Here are the most interesting ways people have used animals around the world. Number 7. Special service dogs. Dogs truly are man's best friend. In 2012, in the United States, 36.5% of households had dogs as pets. That's about 43 million households with one or more dogs in the US alone. On top of that, you've probably heard of service dogs who help blind people navigate the streets. And let's not forget police dogs that assist their coworkers or actual owners on the force in finding drugs, finding illegal explosives, and also protecting fellow policemen as well. But did you know that there are service dogs trained to deal with seizures for people with epilepsy? That's right, man's best friend is stepping it up a notch. Seizure response dogs are trained to deal with life-threatening seizures in various ways. They might look for someone to help its owner having a seizure, or they might stay by their owner during the seizure to stimulate them, or they might prevent their owners from injuring themselves on dangerous objects. These dogs are so smart, they can even grab medication or food for their owner if necessary. What's even more ridiculous is the fact that some seizure response dogs even develop an ability to predict seizures in their companions if they've spent many years together. How this happens exactly isn't known yet, and of course, it's definitely best not to depend on it. All I know is that the faster the dog can get someone to help out its owner, the better the chance its owner has. You guys think dogs can be therapeutic and actually prevent seizures? Dogs can learn to do a whole lot of amazing things, and this is just one of the many reasons that keeps dogs up there at the number 1 spot for pets. Number 6. Electric eels. Electric eels can be pretty dangerous in the wild, but you might be shocked to find out that an electric eel has been used to power a Christmas tree in Japan. You see what I did there? Tell me you didn't laugh. Anyways, electric eels produce electricity by using 3 pairs of abdominal organs in their bodies. They hunt by sensing movements and electric currents in the water to detect their prey. And then they shock it with 850 watts of electricity, enough to kill most small animals and to seriously hurt a fully grown human. You can almost think of their bodies as batteries, as they produce their electricity in similar ways to a battery set up in series. It turns out that you can use them like batteries too. By setting up electrodes in the right position, you can harness the electricity that the eel produces just by moving. An aquarium in Japan did just that when it used an electric eel to power a Christmas tree. The Enoshima Aquarium south of Tokyo showcased the setup, which involved an electrode in an aquarium which was home to an electric eel. Since it uses electricity to detect its surroundings, the eel swimming around meant power for the Christmas lights. Now, powering a Christmas tree is pretty cool, but we probably won't be lighting up a whole city using electric eel power anytime soon, no matter how cool that would be. Number 5. Hungry cats. In 1914, an officer walking down James Street in the middle of the night in New York City heard noises coming from a butcher shop. Thinking that perhaps it might be a burglar, he called for backup. Bursting through the front door with their pistols out, the police found the culprit, or rather, culprits. About 25 cats had managed to find their way into the butcher shop, and they had eaten nearly all of the meat. After chasing away the cats, no arrests were made, but a mystery was left behind. How had the cats gotten in? Okay, you're probably wondering what the hell I'm talking about, but trust me, the story gets better. Apparently, this particular butcher always left the transom open at night. A transom is a little window above a door, for those of you who don't know. He only meant to air out his shop and keep his meat aired out, I guess, but him leaving the transom open ended up putting him out of business. The strange part was that there was no way the cats could have gotten in alone. Well, at least without human help, that is, in theory. Either they managed to form a feline ladder and climb up to the window themselves, or somebody gave them a helping hand. Let's be for real here. The latter explanation makes a hell of a lot more sense. Apparently, the butcher had a rival who had been studying his habits. Officers theorized that a rival butcher had collected 25 cats and starved them for days before giving these hungry cats a helping hand through the transom. Since they had no proof or suspect, no arrest could be made. So, what do you believe more, guys? 25 cats formed a nice feline ladder so they can help themselves to a nice feast, or a rival butcher orchestrated this entire master plan. Actually, for those of you believing in the cats, don't out yourselves in the comments. Anyways, it goes to show just how creative people got with their schemes back before the age of security cameras, and just how destructive a large group of hungry cats can be. Number 4. Truffle hogs. Domesticated pigs have become a trend in recent years, with many videos of cute piglets people have taken in as pets. But some pigs have been kept as pets for an entirely different reason, for hundreds of years. The truffle hog is a type of pig that's capable of locating and digging up truffles, which are extremely rare mushrooms that are used in many expensive dishes, in case you didn't know. As it turns out, German researchers found that truffles contain a substance that is also synthesized in the male hog's testicles. This substance is secreted into the saliva when the hog is trying to mate with a female hog or sow. The sows can smell this chemical, and it leads them right to the truffles, which they're trained to dig out of the ground. So, the only reason that we can find truffles efficiently is because of the sex life of the pig. Of course, if this wasn't the case, the hogs couldn't find truffles. Truffles would probably be even more ridiculously expensive than they already are. I'm gonna thank the female pig for wanting the D and mistaking truffles for what they want, keeping the prices as low as possible for all of us truffle lovers out there. Number 3. Hero rats. To some people, rats are gross. To others, rats are smart, cute, and friendly. Don't ask me what I think, though. To the citizens of Cambodia, rats are heroes. These hero rats have been trained to smell TNT, and they do it very well. So much so, in fact, rats can clear a 200 square meter area of TNT faster than a person carrying a metal detector. The metal detector would pick up all of the fragments of exploded landmines instead of just finding the intact ones. But the rats can smell the TNT inside the bomb. It may seem dangerous for the rats, but before you start wondering how humane this method is, I'll just let you know that you don't need to worry about them. They're actually too light to set off the landmines, making them the perfect choice. The rats will walk along a line of string held out by 2 handlers, and when they find a bomb, they'll start scratching the ground. Some people doubt the efficiency of the rats, but they are tested somewhat frequently by their handlers, who test them by burying fake bombs and other distractions. The rats can distinguish real bombs from everything else and are trained not to scratch the ground unless they actually find a bomb. I guess you can call that an effective QC process. In exchange for their services, they get rewarded with food. Thank God that's not how it is for the most of us. In Cambodia alone, there are an estimated 4 to 6 million unexploded landmines, which means that this job is one of the most important jobs in the area. And it goes to the rats. Hopefully the dinner they get is nice enough to thank them for all their hard work. Number 2. Homing pigeons. Homing pigeons have been used to carry messages over long distances for almost 1,000 years. These pigeons are remarkable for their ability to find their way home from up to 1,100 miles or 1,800 kilometers. The exact way they do this is actually unknown. Research has been performed with the intention of discovering how pigeons can find their way back from distant places they've never visited before. Most researchers believe that the pigeon's homing ability is based on a map and compass model. The compass feature allows pigeons to know which direction is north, and the map feature allows them to determine their location relative to their destination. While the compass mechanism appears to rely on the sun, the map mechanism has been highly debated. It's believed that they use their innate ability to detect the Earth's magnetic fields. Because of this ability, they can be transported to any distance within their range and then released, and they'll fly back to their starting point. Scientists have found that on top of a pigeon's beak contains a large number of particles of iron which act like a man-made compass, which helps the pigeon in determining its home. As impressive as this ability is, in case you didn't know, homing pigeons have been out of work recently with the rise of the internet, cell phones, and reliable GPS. But some people apparently still employ them occasionally. They usually aren't using them to send messages like you might expect, though. In August of 2015, a homing pigeon was caught smuggling drugs to a Costa Rican prison. As it turns out, pigeons can be trained to carry up to 2.5 ounces on its back, so a little pigeon could conceivably carry a decent amount of drugs back and forth to where it came from. Earlier in 2017, a homing pigeon was caught smuggling more than 170 ecstasy pills in a homemade backpack. This little guy was putting in that work. Anyway, somehow police tracked the progress of this pigeon across the border of 2 countries. Somehow, some way, the police were able to stop the bird and make an arrest as it soared between Iraq and Kuwait. Apparently, homing pigeons are increasingly being used in the region as a drug smuggling technique. The bird was caught above a building conveniently near Kuwait's customs department in Kuwait City. I'm still trying to figure out how the police got the pigeon to land. I guess these drug dealers need to teach these pigeons to only stop for bathroom breaks. Number 1. Call ducks. Call ducks are domesticated ducks that are often kept as pets, but they have a history of betrayal to their own kind. Although I doubt that they did it intentionally. The first recorded mentions of call ducks are from the Netherlands. The high-pitched distinctive call of the call duck was used to lure other ducks into funnel traps. Later, before artificial duck calls were around, call ducks were a modern hunter's best bait. Hunters would find a duck, and they'd tie the duck to one spot where they'd let it call out for a while. This would draw other ducks into range for the hunters to shoot. It's believed this practice originally came from the Far East, although no records of its introduction to the Netherlands exist. In fact, call ducks were pretty much too good at baiting other ducks to come around. The use of a call duck would draw so many ducks that its use for hunting was permanently banned in every U.S. state in 1935. The number of ducks being shot down by the hunters was threatening the U.S. conservation efforts of ducks at the time. Because call ducks aren't in use anymore, and humans have gotten so good at duck calling, there are even duck calling championships held. Seriously, how much are tickets to these events? Here's what's next.
Villagers in Nigeria noticed a huge snake whose torso was swollen. They assumed it had been eating their livestock. Fearing the snake may strike again, they decided to kill it. After all, they need livestock to make a living, so it was the best decision for them. However, when they killed the snake and cut it open, they were surprised.